Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we've just got a post hands-on games visit to the third annual Fall Classic Pre-PLAAY wrap-up episode. For those of you who are following the channel, you know that this past weekend a bunch of us fans of Keith Avallone's Play.com History Maker Baseball traveled to Wisconsin, and we pre-played the upcoming Major League Baseball playoffs. And if you follow Keith's newsletter, this won't be a spoiler, but you know that the Dodgers beat the Royals 4-1 in our simulated playoffs. And the weekend was a complete success, a complete blast, and I know for a fact it exceeded everybody's expectations who went on this trip. For those of you who are not familiar with Keith Avallone or his games, you need to go to play.com, Plaay.com. I will put the link below in the show notes, and check them out. Not only are Keith's games imaginative and fun for you and your friends, you and your family, or you as a solitaire player, but he does an incredible job of building a very inclusive, friendly, fun, and passionate user community. And that was definitely on display at the Board Game Barrister this weekend. I'll also post a link to the Board Game Barrister because Keith did a great job of finding just a fantastic place to host our event. This was the best game store that I've ever been to, as a matter of fact, and I've been to them in probably about 5 different states now. This one blew them all out of the water in terms of not only just the content that they had, games that they had for sale in the store, but the gaming space and the accommodations for the gamers. So yeah, it was a blast. The guys that I met were many. I've known Keith for a while now, and I've hung out with Keith at these events, and our families have visited, and it was great seeing Keith again, but getting to meet everybody else that I've been talking to on the forums, and getting to meet YouTube's Steve Tower from After Further Review. See the link down below for his channel. That was a blast. Travis, brother from another mother. The guy's a crack up, and not only passionate about the board games that I love, but also found out that he's involved in keeping Tecmo and RBI baseball alive on the old Nintendo system and emulators. So because I didn't want to forget anybody, I'm looking at Keith's wrap-up report from the event, and I'll just go through the names here. So besides Travis and Keith and Steve, I already mentioned, Bob Hansen, welcome to the crew. I know you haven't been playing the game a long time, but it was great getting to know you and meeting your cousins at the restaurant afterwards. That was fun. Roger, I didn't pull you, so stop holding a grudge. I'll explain what that means in a second. Or I should say Roger the Judge Rickman. Art Campana, Art, thanks again. You know what I'm thanking you for. It was great meeting you, great hanging out with you earlier in the day on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again in the future. Let's see. Jack, sorry you couldn't stick around longer, but it was great meeting you and Mike. I'm glad you guys got to be there for a while. I think you had to drive a ways to get to where we were, so I really appreciate it. That was a lot of fun. Russ and Quinn and Lance, didn't get a chance to talk to you guys a lot, but thanks for being there. And Joe and Tim, that was awesome that you guys were there. That was so cool seeing. So for those of you who don't know, Tim Plum is the proprietor of PT Games, and he's got a baseball game in his gaming stable, Payoff Pitch Baseball, which I've featured on this channel. So Joe Bryan, the designer of that game, was at the event hanging out, as was Tim. And then let me come back to that in a second. And then Dan's story is cool too. So Dan was not a planned attendee of this event. He was just a guy, came in off the street. We made a joke about him being a scam artist at dinner, but Dan came in and took an interest in what we were doing, playing this game. Most of the people around us in the Board Game Barrister were playing Magic. I think I didn't have a lot of time to look, but they were definitely playing the Star Wars miniature game, and they were playing Magic. So Dan checked out what we were doing, and it was funny because Keith is sitting right there, right in the middle of us all, and yet all of us customers were telling Dan, this new guy, about the game and how it worked, and trying to show him why it was such a cool game. And I don't know how it happened, but by the end of the night, he was sitting there at the dinner table with us, like we'd known him for years. So, Dan, welcome to the crew. So that was a really cool story. But just coming back to Joe and Tim, it was cool that they were there, because the nice thing about this community that we have on Delphi, is, especially with the Play.com crew, is that we are inclusive. You hear stories about other game companies and being kind of anti anything else, especially with baseball sims. But that's not the case with this crew. So yeah, we had another game designer from a competing game there, but it was a blast. We play all the games. We don't just play one game. So it was fun, and it really highlighted, I think, what's great about this community. So thanks to everybody for making it such a fun time. I had a blast. I know that you guys appreciate what I've done, and you say thank you. But seriously, the reason why doing things like this card set that I did and this button that I made for the event, the reason I do that is because you guys are so cool, and you make it fun. So speaking of the things, people who attended the event got a couple takeaways. They got a 3rd annual Fall Classic Pre-PLAAY History Maker Baseball button, and on the bottom it says Milwaukee, Wisconsin 9/26/15, and it's got a picture of Miller Park there in the middle. Don't know how well you can see that, but everybody got one of these buttons. Thanks to my wife Annette for letting me borrow her school's button maker. And then I made this card set, with apologies to Mike Bowling for his name not being on here. But to be honest, this card set, this commemorative card set, was specifically designed for the people attending the event. And then I did fill it out with names from other event attendees in the past. And it was a blast because we unperforated the cards and played a game with them. And Steve Tower did beat me, but that's not such a big deal, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what I'm going to do, probably tomorrow night, I'm hoping, is I'm going to go ahead and do another History Maker Baseball video. I will use these cards because I know people have asked me to do another run through, so I'll go ahead and do another run through, and I'll do it with these special cards. That should be interesting to those of you who are actually represented on these cards. And that'll be my next video after this one. So before we actually had this History Maker Baseball Day and pre-played the playoffs and saw that the Dodgers are predicted, at least by us on that day, to win the World Series, we had a grudge match. And I think the last video I did was basically me politely asking Steve Tower of After Further Review if he'd like to put a wager on on a game of second season that we were going to be playing anyway this past weekend. And what happened was we all flew in Friday night, nice long day. I met up with Keith and Steve. They flew into Chicago and drove up to Milwaukee. And we had a quick bite to eat. Started my weekend of beer and fried foods in Milwaukee That's a rough place to be a lactose intolerant vegetarian, I'll tell you. And as Travis would tell you, he doesn't want my vegetarian leftovers, and I don't blame him, especially when you live in Milwaukee. But anyway, we ate dinner, then we went back to the hotel we were staying at, and we played our game of second season. And it was a game from the 1957 set that Keith Avallone just put out for second season. I was coaching, so Steve's taken the Boston Patriots through a season. For those of you who are watching who aren't familiar with Play.com and are wondering what's Al talking about with 1957 and the Boston Patriots and the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm not going to go into all the details here, but Keith went through a ridiculous amount of research and did a fictional, well, not really fictional, but did a what if the AFL started in 1957, not 1960, and so those are the teams that are in this set. So I coached the Chargers, Steve coached the Patriots, and via the wager on our YouTube channels, the loser of the game had to appear in a future video in the uniform of the opponent. And in this case, the Los Angeles Chargers came out on top. Hooray for hands-on games. We beat after further review. So that was a lot of fun. The game was a blast. My Chargers did get some lucky breaks. It was played at the LA Coliseum, so I got an exorbitant amount of home field advantage rolls that worked to my favor and some lucky breaks on turnovers. So while we expected this to be a battle between the Chargers offense and the Patriots defense, it actually turned out to be all about the Chargers defense and special teams in the end. So yeah, it was great, and I can't wait to see Steve Tower wearing, I think he bought a powder blue Chargers jersey, and I believe he got it in the Chargers' new rookie running backs numbers, so Gordon. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's see, so that was Friday night, and then Saturday was History Maker Baseball all day at the Board Game Barrister, and Sunday we were out of there, so yesterday was a travel day for me, and I'm finally caught up on my sleep, and wanted to make sure that everybody got caught up on all those activities. Wanted to make sure that I gave a shout out to Keith for hosting a fantastic event. Can't wait for the next one. I will definitely be there in Phoenix in March for I believe it's going to be the time travel tournament. I think that's the plan. What else? Yeah, and everybody that I met, I've already mentioned your names. Thank you for attending, for making it so much better. You know, I do want to give a shout out to anybody that wanted to attend but didn't for one reason or another. I'm talking to those of you who, like just about all of us, except maybe Travis, are more on the introverted side than the extroverted side. I'm talking to you because I am one of those people too. It may not seem so, because I do this channel, but yeah, it's true. I'm more introverted than extroverted. I'd prefer to sit at home and roll dice and be in my office by myself with my family nearby, but just doing my thing. And I think a lot of you are the same way. So kind of breaking out of your shell a bit and going to a game store and being surrounded by so many people can be a little intimidating. And I've already talked to a couple people that have come to these events and they were kind of shy and kind of hesitant about attending one of these events, but then afterwards they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad I went. Take that seriously because it's true. If you're that kind of person, trust me, this group of people will make you feel welcome. Keith will make you feel welcome. After 10 minutes of hanging out with Keith, you'll feel like you've known him all your life. He makes you feel welcome, and he appreciates you for being a customer or just for being interested in one of his games, or if you just want to talk sports. And all of us are like that. And that's the cool thing. I know I talked about the community earlier. I'm going to harp on it one more time. All of these guys, and I can speak for I think I can speak for Roger and Bob, for example. I know that they appreciated how welcoming we all were. You know, Bob didn't know what to expect, but I know he had a great time. You know, and the same goes for everybody. I can think of other events I've been to, and it's the same thing. People are like, yeah, I really didn't know what to expect, but then they're kind of sad to see it was over. As a matter of fact, so Saturday night, Keith and Art had to drive back to Chicago. And had they not needed to drive back to Chicago, I know that we would have been at that restaurant bar for hours longer. There was just so much to talk about and so much in common between everybody. It probably would have been awesome. We probably would have been ready for like a second dinner by about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, and it would have been epic. But yeah, Keith and Art had to break things up. So I could go on, but I shouldn't, because this video is long enough as it is. So this video really is it's a thank you to everybody who attended, and it's a please join us next time for anybody that didn't and who can in the Phoenix area come March. You know, I had to fly from San Diego to Milwaukee. I'll probably drive to Phoenix, but I'll probably end up flying to wherever I have to fly to meet up with you guys again. It was that much fun. And it's really these events are special. I don't know how else to put it. It's different than a gaming convention, totally different than a gaming convention. It's totally different. It's very intimate. It's very personal. You get one-on-one time with the game developer. You get to ask him questions about, you know, what he has planned for the future, and then you get to hang out with like-minded individuals. So it's a win. Hey guys, not leaving just yet. I forgot that I have some photographs from the event that I'm showing up on the screen right now. These are images taken by Keith as we were playing the games. I know that I said I'd try to get photos and video of the event as it was going on, but I was having so much fun, and I was involved in playing the games. I really didn't have a chance to do that. But as you can see, we were all having just a fantastic time playing the game, and yeah, the location was excellent. And also, I did take some video of the end of, I want to say, the American League Championship Series Game 7. And here, let me show you that right now.
I remember what the glasses was. More lenient.
Oh, there we go. It's professional.
All four. What? Oh, get your glasses on. All right.
Terrible call from who was it? Was it Joe West? No,
probably Joe West.
Porter.
Did you see that play the other day with him and Bumgarner staring each other down on the mound? It was
That's
awesome.
funny.
It was awesome. All right, Justin Smoke, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
116.
116. All right. Fresh. Nice.
Fresh. Yeah.
I left him in. That's a risk leaving him in, but
Another strikeout?
yeah, striking up.
All right. Danny? That's the end of the 8, so
All right, so we're in
that call, right?
going to the 9th. The Royals are up 4-3.
Looking like an all-Missouri series, maybe.
Cardinals.
No, it isn't.
No, Dodgers won.
Dodgers won.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
What am I thinking?
Good. All right, here we go. So we got
Took care of those stupid Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah, so you got 9-1-2.
All right.
That's big
3,
nice.
5, 6.
Escobar.
Come on now, Cetus, former Brewer, 2, 3, 6. Keith memorizing the ball.
Yeah, he should have. Escobar started the 2-out rally.
Background's drinking the 2 beers.
Oh, this is incredible.
All right, 2 outs, and who's up?
Carrera. Oh yeah. Yep.
Toronto's cheering, hoping for another run here.
Come on, cards.
Toronto's down by a run, nobody on base, 2 outs.
Decide or die stuck.
4, 5, what is it? 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. Patient, hit some balls, otherwise fly out the center.
And there it is.
That's the game.
Woo!
Kansas City is going.
Kansas City.
Kansas City, the Dodgers. The game. Get a picture for Facebook. All right.
So that is really the end of this episode of Hands on Games. So again, thanks everybody, and we will talk to you soon.